Welcome to Android Authority on Air, the original Android Hangout show on Google+. I'm Derek Ross.
I'm Scott Anderson.
I'm Jonathan Franklin.
I'm Chris Wook.
Welcome to the show, guys. So we have a lot to talk about this week. We have tons of ecosystem news. Google was buying some companies. Some tablet optimization was added to the Play Store. Google basically said, hey, Facebook, you're not allowed to do something indirectly. We have some earnings reports from all the big guys this week as the first quarter of 2013 comes to an end. We have all sorts of app updates, AirDroid, some keyboards. Facebook Home had a whole bunch of installs, but who's actually using it? On to device and carrier news. T-Mobile and Metro PCS tied the knot officially, and it actually becomes official May 1st, but they tied the knot. We have some more device news, such as the Galaxy S4, some Google TV information, and we'll wrap it up with patent wars as usual. So let's get started and talk about some ecosystem news. For those of you that are Glass explorers or hoping to use Glass in the future, you might be a little saddened to know that Eric Schmidt said this week that Glass would likely be available to consumers in 2014. Well, he really didn't say that. He said Glass would probably be available in a year-ish. So probably is not the best word for a time frame, and year-ish isn't the best word for a time frame either. But a year-ish from now puts it in 2014 or so. So yeah, if you're a Glass Explorer, you'll be using it for a while before the general public gets a hold of it. I mentioned that Google bought a company. Google supposedly acquired Wavy. Is that how you say that?
Mm-hmm.
That's how I'm saying it. Wavy. So Wavy is an application that aggregates news that it thinks that you're interested in and is relevant to you. The rumor is, speculated that Google will be integrating Wavy's natural language technology into the knowledge graph and services and elsewhere. So, Google's all about the knowledge graph and contextual data and being able to provide relevant information to users. So that sounds like it's a good acquisition from Google's standpoint, and I'm interested to see what they're going to do with it. Especially when they buy a company like this. Google added tablet optimization tips to the Google Play Developer Console. Now you're able to proactively scan apps to be uploaded for tablet compatibility. And it provides developer feedback in real time. But the details on that isn't really a big deal. The fact that they are making tablet optimization updates. So Google's really pushing Android tablets still, which they've been doing that since the Nexus 7 first launched. Speaking of tablets, what about Android notebooks? There's some interesting tidbits of news this week in the Android world about notebooks. An Intel executive said that $200 notebooks are on the way. And you know as well as I do, you really can't buy a $200 Intel-based notebook. They're a lot more expensive than that. So how are they going to get there? Are they going to be Atom processors that run Android? With Windows 8 being the question mark that it is, and Microsoft's business model for licensing being the way that it is, where Windows is pretty expensive. It's $100. So is it going to be Android? Are we going to see an Android tablet? Who really knows? But there's a lot of speculation about that. Perhaps we're going to see a touchscreen, convertible PC with Android running it. None of this is confirmed, but there's been a lot of speculation around the internet the past week about this. We like speculation because it gives us something to talk about, right? It's fun. I really don't think it's probable, in my opinion. I don't really think Android makes a good notebook operating system. But then again, I've never used a Transformer Prime, and those of you that have used a Transformer Prime, you love that keyboard dock, and once you dock it, most of you never take that keyboard dock off and keep it on there and use it as a notebook. So
because that's a ton of battery life.
Yeah, so apparently there is a market for them. So we'll see what Intel does. It's up in the air right now. It's just speculation. Facebook announces their biggest developer party yet, and guess when it is? It's the night before Google I/O. Interesting to see what happens there. They said Facebook promised that you'll be able to meet people from the Facebook team and other top-notch Android developers. So that's interesting. I'm interested to see what they're pushing with that. Because Facebook has been heavily entrenched in Android for a while now, with their Android campaign around the Office to switch to Android, and now with their home application, which we'll get to in a little bit more information in a little bit. So it's I'm surprised that they're holding this. You guys think anything they're looking to do, or they're just looking to strengthen their foothold with Android?
I think they're probably trying to get in with Android developers to try to, because Facebook kind of integrates ads for Android applications already in their own app. So I think that they're probably trying to play nice with Android developers to get them to warm up to Facebook as a platform to help push that. Probably.
Yeah, that makes sense. I
think they're definitely playing buddy and trying to bring some people over to their side, so to speak, I guess.
All right. So speaking of Facebook, Google did something just a little bit ago. Earlier today, Google updated their Google Play developer console. They actually updated the Google Play content policy. So if you're a developer, you have a developer account, when you sign in, you get a nice pop-up message. The pop-up message says, Google Play content policies have been updated. See content policies section, which clarifies that an app downloaded from Google Play may not modify, replace, or update its own APK binary code using any method other than Google Play's update mechanism. Google Play is a trusted source for Android applications, and we are committed to providing a secure and consistent experience. So the first thing that comes to mind to me is, remember over the past month or maybe a month or so ago, people that had Facebook installed started getting pop-ups or notifications saying, hey, download the latest Facebook update. And Facebook downloaded it itself. It didn't download it from the Play Store. Facebook was installing updates without the Play Store. So that's an interesting way to do things. I mean, it's cutting Google out of the mix. But the biggest thing is that it's allowing an app to download updates from who knows where, as Google said, they're a known trusted source. So you want to download from the known trusted source. You don't want to download from a third-party server that could have been hacked. Who knows? I'm not saying it happens, but
or even a developer with malicious intent gives you a nice little app to warm you up to it, and then they just decide they want to put some malware on there.
Exactly.
To make money off of you. I mean.
And the fact that permissions could change, these apps aren't being scanned for malware by Google. Bouncer's not scanning them, so it's good that Google did this. And I can't think of any app recently that has tried to do this. So this is basically a hey Facebook, we saw what you were doing, so we updated our
Don't
terms.
continue.
Yeah,
What you did there, Facebook.
Yeah, we see what you did there, and we don't like it.
So basically, if Facebook continues to do that, I'm not up on all the content policy rules and regulations, but I see people getting their apps removed from the Google Play Store for violating content policies all the time. So if Facebook, if they don't comply, which I'm sure they will, it would be stupid for them not to, but if they wouldn't, they could potentially have their app removed from the Play Store. Which would be all sorts of hilarious.
It would be kind of funny.
Because we like Google Plus. We're on Google Plus. Facebook's bad. Anyways.
I have something to say about that, but...
All right, Wookie, tell me, how is Facebook... what do you want to say?
It's just that, recently I did review the HTC first. And it's actually kind of cool in that you can get really right to stock Jelly Bean right off the bat. I mean, as soon as you turn off Facebook Home, you've got basically stock Jelly Bean.
Oh, and that's awesome.
Yeah, that is very cool. HTC will probably never update it again, but at the same time, it's cool to be able to just, see, like, literally stock Jelly Bean like, you would get from a ROM. But I had to reactivate my Facebook for the first time in about, I don't know, a year and a half, maybe even longer. And I instantly remembered why I deleted my Facebook or deactivated it. It's just...
Most people's friends and status updates just aren't good enough to consume your entire home screen.
What, you don't like to know, like, what they're eating, what kind of naughty pictures they're looking at, what they're thinking, how they're feeling? You don't like to know that?
I'll just say that I remember now why I don't hang out with a lot of the people I used to hang out with.
I realize that waking up to go to work in the morning and then getting home to throw some clothes in the laundry and then having to cook for yourself is something that's like superhuman that nobody else has to do on a daily basis, but I don't constantly have to be reminded of it, Personally.
Yeah, okay. So that really wraps it up for ecosystem news. So let's move on to the money. People want to know about the money. How are companies doing? Are they making money? Are they losing money? So we had Q1 2013 numbers come in. John, you want to tell us a little bit about them?
Yeah, pretty much everyone's putting out their earnings reports right about now and hopefully appeasing shareholders. The first one, a notable one, was Apple. It was kind of speculated that they were going to see a profit margin decrease, which turned out to be true. Their net income actually dropped about 18% compared to this time last year. The revenue itself was actually up 11%. Over the last quarter, the iPhone sales kind of slowed down a good bit. They grew 3% during the quarter, and that's it. It's the fourth consecutive quarter of actual declining gross profit margin by percentage, which is actually the longest stretch since 1993. Specifically, it's at 37.5% now versus 47.4% a year ago. They also announced a plan to reward shareholders by doubling their program to return cash to shareholders via stock buybacks and higher dividends. So they're basically going to be spending $100 billion on the effort through 2015, which is ridiculous. The share purchases themselves it's going to go up to $60 billion from what was $10 billion. So that's the largest plan in history too. So basically they're helping out all the disgruntled stockholders by investing into themselves. But I guess the biggest thing to note is that the iPad mini, realistically, its existence has hurt the iPad lineup because it doesn't pull in anywhere near the profit margin that the larger iPad does. And then even though they're selling a lot of iPhones, they're starting to sell a lot more of the older, lower profit margin devices like the 4 and the 4S instead of the 5. So what they really need is to really hit one out of the park as far as a new hardware device innovation or a new market altogether to really get that profitability back.
Do you guys know at what point they stopped manufacturing a iPhone like model?
I'd guess within the 2 years ago seems to be the 3GS doesn't exist anymore, so I would think that
like 2 years, you think?
I would think that when the 5S or 6 or whatever it ends up being comes out, then the 4 will probably be deprecated, I would think.
That's usually what they do.
Oh.
So I don't see any point of continuing carrying the 4. I mean, it's ancient by today's standards, but it's still not a terrible phone for for certain people. But
the fact of the matter is that Apple that's their first profit decrease in 10 years. That's big news. That's and Apple's been struggling to stay above $400 a share for weeks now.
They've really become a victim of their own success, and Samsung is probably kind of the mobile market's moving forward, but it's just not blowing people out of the water like it used to be. They're becoming less a commodity and more a device that you eat on a daily basis, and you expect it's not magical anymore, it's functional. The next one, Qualcomm posted their quarterly revenue results, and they made $6.1 billion, which is up 24% year over year. And during that time frame, during the last quarter, they shipped 173 million MSM chips in the quarter. The net income was slightly down, and the biggest part of that is because of all the R&D that they've had to pour to accommodate all the new network technologies that have come out in the last, especially like combining CDMA and LTE takes a lot of work on their part. But now that they've gotten their radio technology pretty much set to go for every major network technology to come out in the next couple of years, then they're good to go. LG had some interesting earnings, kind of mediocre across the board, but the smartphone division is actually picking up a good bit. Their revenues went up to $2.96 billion, which is like a 28.5% year-over-year increase. The operating profit is $122 million, which is about 4 times the previous year. And they hit their own milestone where they shipped 10.3 million smartphones, which is a record for them. So did the Nexus 4 help them out? The Nexus 4 definitely had a part in kind of picking them up there a little bit and putting some life into them.
Optimus G Pro.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Definitely.
So those are really the notable earnings calls. Everyone else did as well as expected.
And we talked about Google's earnings the previous week.
Yeah.
Yeah. And surprise, surprise, mobile across all the companies are up. So.
All right, so let's talk about Rootin' Ramen.
Rootin' and ramen. Ramen noodles, of course. Sony released AOSP for the Xperia Z on their own GitHub. It's worth noting that most things are functional, but Sony can't release proprietary binaries for the modem and camera to the public, so they'll have to be pulled from other sources. And basically, they technically can't be part of AOSP efforts because they aren't open source code. It's good news for the development community if you have those devices. See some exciting stuff for that. CyanogenMod, they're adding both time-delayed and voice capture models to the camera software. Currently, the voice actions are Sid, Whiskey, and Cheese. Kind of reminding me of the Galaxy S3 voice actions with the camera and things like that. Remind you guys of that?
Yeah, I talked about this whenever it was first mentioned, and I was very surprised at how many people were said, "Oh, well, my Galaxy Note 2 can do that," or "Oh, my Galaxy Note 3 can do," or Galaxy S3 can do that, and I said, "Yeah, but that's TouchWiz, and not everybody likes TouchWiz, and those features aren't available on every other device. Not every phone is a Samsung TouchWiz device, So it's for people that run CyanogenMod that lost that functionality on a newer TouchWiz device, or for anybody that doesn't have it, that's awesome. That's great. That you can do timed photos and remotely triggered photos by keywords. Not all those features are available to everybody, and now the fact that the most popular ROM in the world has it,
and a large list of supported devices.
In a very large list of supported devices, it's going to bring these features to a lot of people that didn't have it. So it's very cool. And if my little guy here that keeps on trucking ever gets CM CM 10.1. I will use the hell out of those features.
Speaking from someone that has a device that comes with S-Voice, pretty much the only useful thing about S-Voice are the voice commands, because S-Voice is it's garbage compared to Google Voice Search. But S-Voice is a 30 megabyte file versus some voice commands being integrated into the software. I'd really like to see Samsung just focus on putting voice commands where it's necessary and not have this bloated, useless piece of software taking up memory. I think it's a better approach.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
All right, so let's talk about some apps.
All right, so first of all, I think the biggest one here is Swipe. It basically, that keyboard that comes with a lot of Android devices, gives you the option to change to it. Basically, it finally gets put into a beta application in the Play Store, available for 99 cents. They've needed this for a long time. They've needed to, just like with what Google did with Calendar, they made the app. They made an app for it and not come in the operating system. So this is kind of a move like Google is doing with their main apps and making it into an app. And they've only been on OEM partnership devices, so it's not like on everything. And with the large amount of other apps that are coming out for keyboards, they have to make a presence, and this will give them a good way to update it, as well as add new features, things like that. Another beloved app of mine is AirDroid, and I know a lot of people use this app, and it's very useful. They just came out with their new version. It's a device-free lab, so you sign into the web, and AirDroid will launch automatically on the device, even when it's not nearby. Same network free, so you don't need a Wi-Fi network connection to log in. You can access AirDroid through different networks with an AirDroid account. That's kind of cool. Some people think security, it's a little bit but it's very nice. You can access your phone from anywhere. You can find your phone, locate your device on a map, lock it, wipe it, lock, pop, and drop it. Call notifications and initiate a new call from your Android device, remote camera like that, improved SMS, photo, and file experience. It's definitely improved a lot of bug fixes and improvements. All in all, a lot better. And I'm excited to see where it goes from here. And then speaking of Kickstarter, like I was speaking about it earlier, I don't know how to pronounce it. Anybody know how to pronounce that?
I think it's
That's fine. You can butcher it. We'll let you.
Yeah.
Minimum. Minimum. Okay, so Minim. Correct me if I'm wrong. I need somebody spell it out for me. It's spelled MINUM. Basically, they were a Kickstarter campaign. They were completely blown out of the water. The fundraiser started with a goal of just $10,000 and ended today with a total of $87,369. It's nearly 900% of the original goal. Basically, for those of you guys who haven't seen the Minim keyboard project, it's to create a keyboard that is both effective in typing in a small screen with small screen real estate, taking down the keyboard rows just to one. It's kind of an interesting concept. What do you guys think about the one-line concept?
It's interesting, I don't know how well I'll be able to type on it, but I do like it because, especially in landscape mode, you can kind of go to respond to a comment, and you can kind of forget your place because the box that you're typing in takes up the whole screen where you're looking at what you're responding to in portrait. So
you might as well not even type anything worth mentioning on landscape mode, because you get one sentence in there and then it's in the buffer, and you can't see anything else. Like, so if you forget what you were saying, if you have a very long, worthy Google Plus comment to type out or an email, you're gonna be you're screwed. Like, I hate typing in landscape.
Or if you're like one of those novel typers on your phone, which, by the way, I hate you. This will not be the app for you. Any other comments on this? Do we know how to pronounce it yet? Nope.
Menu.
No clue. Menu.
I'm sticking with menu.
All right, that's fine.
Why don't we just call it the Kickstarter Minimal Keyboard?
No, there's probably another project that's coming out soon that's going to be called that.
Oh, touche of their project.
Yeah, a little bit of a foreshadow there. Okay, so Facebook Home, this has been a week or so since it's been out. It sees around 500,000 installs. However, the question remains, how many people install it because they're curious and they've seen a lot of things about it, and then just uninstall it?
I would like to venture that that's a lot of people, because the Play Store doesn't track that. The Play Store tracks installs, not active installs.
Yeah. But and then you have to, if you want to track that though, how do you track an active install? Then you got to go into metrics for that, and then you don't want to get into that cluster, in my opinion. But it would be interesting to see how many people uninstall it and how long they had it on their phone.
I'm sure Facebook has that metric though.
Oh, they do.
Oh yeah.
Google might not, but Facebook, they definitely have that metric.
And I'm sure Facebook doesn't want to share that metric.
Darn right.
It's like, yes, 500,000 installs. Damn it, 10,000 of them only kept it.
And they rated it 1 star.
Oh, they rated it 1 star.
The 1-star rating. Oh man. Okay. SoftKey Z. It's an application that lets you seamlessly customize the on-screen navigation buttons. This works with any device that has root and BusyBox and SoftKeys. That's kind of cool.
Scott, this phone I have, the HTC Droid DNA. It's my favorite phone.
I call it a POS.
All right, so if you're new to the show and new to Derek Ross, he hates this phone, but he still uses it. We don't know why. He likes torture.
He doesn't talk in the third person that much, so don't be scared right now.
Anyways,
although it's in twerp right now.
Yeah, Wookie, I saw you had that in twerp earlier. So I don't like this film, but I'm waiting for something better to come along to make me a happy.
You always say that.
So I'm still waiting, Scott. Anyways, damn it! Now you made me lose my spot.
Okay, well,
what am I talking about? Soft keys. Oh, I miss soft keys. I really do. If I had the Nexus 4 still, if I didn't sell it, or if I didn't give my wife my Galaxy Nexus, I would be using that app right now, and I change my soft keys every day. I think it's awesome for people to have soft keys, and I'm a little jealous.
You would change your soft keys every day. You would not get used to.
For the first week, I would, and then I would get tired of it, and then I would stick with something.
You're a pink unicorn man, dude.
Yeah, exactly. What are you talking about?
Every day too, probably.
What? I change them when I need to.
All right, pink unicorn. I might have a pink shirt on, but at least I don't have a pink unicorn shirt on.
Okay, I'm changing all my soft keys. They're all going to be pictures, and they're going to be of unicorns and in different colors.
And I want you to take a screenshot, and then we're going to share it from the Android Authority page.
Wait for that screenshot, because I will do it most likely tonight if I have time.
Hashtag pink unicorn screenshot.
Hashtag corn droid. Oh, God. Okay, and then we touched on this a little bit last episode, but we do have some more information now. Google launched an app called One Today, which is to support nonprofit organizations. The goal is to raise awareness and highlight nonprofit organizations and their work, allowing you to support them through giving $1. So every day a new project is highlighted with a new opportunity to donate, and it's currently an invite only, like we said last time, and only on Android to test the service, and you'll need a Google Wallet account to, well, not account, but you'll need Google Wallet to donate. I think that's pretty interesting. Different thing a day.
It's a cool thing for them to do.
Yeah, I wonder. No, wait. They can't use that for tax purposes.
Well, it's good that they are focusing on non-profit organizations and trying to kind of cherry pick the ones that really.
Would you prefer them to
don't take the money and just blow it somewhere?
Would you prefer them to come out with an app that funds profit organizations? Like if we had like Verizon on there, hey, here's a tip. That'd be funny.
All right, so let's.
That's not going to be made into an app, by the way.
I would rate that 1 star if that makes you feel.
You would not. You would download it and you would use it.
All right, so let's move on to the meat of the show, the device news and carrier news. We'll lump all that together.
Can we call this the T-bone of the show?
The T-bone of the show. Well,
so
the show is called the Samsung Galaxy S4 and the HTC One, and instead of spending the next half hour talking about these two devices, because it's been beat into your heads the past couple days since the S4 became available nearly everywhere for pre-order, and people were getting review units. We posted, a versus video. Some loved the One, some loved the S4, and our man Wookie here actually has the S4 on hand. So instead of going into insane amount of detail, I'm going to refer you to our versus videos, our review videos, and our review posts if you want to find out more information. But what I will offer for our live viewers right now, while we talk about other devices, if you have any specific questions about the S4, since Wookie has one right now, he's going to be more than willing to answer anything you want to know. So go ahead and leave your S4 questions in the comments, and we'll hit them up here as we're talking about some other news. We'll give you a few minutes to think of something good, besides, do you like it? Ask him something hard and complicated. He's only had it for about a day or so.
I would like to say something just to kick this all off.
Okay.
First, I have had a little more time to test the S4 before when we saw it in New York.
You're right.
But the other thing is, I would like to address this right off the bat. And I'm going to speak right to the camera. Your Samsung Galaxy Note 2 is not better than the S4. Stop saying that. But it is not better. That's it. It's just,
whoa. Nothing to back that up. He just goes outright and says it, and he's starting a flame war. This is just... That's crazy.
That's why I'm doing it here instead of...
And Wookie knows what the hell he's talking about, so I would believe him. Bigger isn't always better, All right, so while you're thinking, while you're coming up with some questions for Wookie here, so T-Mobile and Metro PCS officially tied the knot, and they announced they're officially tying the knot, I guess, and it'll be made official come May 1st here, just in a few days. So what does that mean? Well, we'll find out. They're getting married. They're going to be doing some things, and I'm sure next week we'll have all sorts of information for you about the merger. But it was approved, and that's good. There was some speculation there when and if it was ever going to happen. But it was approved. All right, so speaking of T-Mobile, a Washington State Attorney General said that the fact that they're calling themselves the uncarrier and they're branding themselves as the uncarrier, that's a little misleading because they actually are a carrier. So the Attorney General thinks that they were deceptive and they duped some of their customers. So because T-Mobile is an awesome company, they're agreeing, and they're going to clarify their terms of service. And if anybody was duped into thinking that T-Mobile wasn't an actual carrier after all, you have you can cancel your service with no penalty if you signed up between March 26th and April 25th. So during that month time frame when they were uncarriering themselves all over the place, if you got duped into thinking they weren't a carrier, you can cancel your service and there will be no cancellation penalty, and you'll get a full refund for the device and the service provided. So that's very nice of I almost said Samsung. That's very nice of T-Mobile to do. I don't have T-Mobile, but I wasn't duped. Did any of you guys think they actually weren't a carrier?
I'll admit I was really confused for a while there, but I think I got it. I think I got it.
I mean, I understand.
I still have no clue, honestly.
Yeah, but whatever. Okay, so moving on. Let's see if we have any comments about how fast is the GPS lock, Wookie?
I have no idea. I haven't had time to test it. I'm sorry.
Oh my God!
Okay, test it right now.
All right, so run outside because we know it's not going to lock on in your house.
Yeah, I don't think I can test it right now. I'll try. But,
okay, so while you're seeing if your
something
house is impervious to GPS service,
I'm somewhat near a window, but I don't think it's going to work.
All right, so do you feel like a Jedi when you're using it because of the air gestures?
No.
No.
Interesting.
I'm sorry.
I would.
All right, so okay. How about a more important question? Are any of the air gestures actually useful? Have you used them? Is a better question. Have you used them? What do you think of the air gestures?
I've used a few. I mean, the hover, like anything that when you get near the screen, kind of like the S Pen does with the Note 2 or any other device that uses the S Pen. Stuff like that is kind of handy, but for the most part, I think it's a little gimmicky. I don't find it all that handy, but I haven't had that much time to play around with it at home. When we tried it out in New York, it was really hard to get most things working just because of all the crowds and noise, so that's where I had the most experience with it. I mean, I've literally been playing around with this thing a little bit today because I got it yesterday and I was working all day yesterday and all day today, and whenever I've had the chance I've been trying to mess around with this, but I haven't had a chance to really play with eye gestures or whatever that hell they call it, or the air stuff. But I like the fact that it does know when you're near it. That's just a cool feeling.
All right, so we have another question.
That should not be laughed at like that.
All right, so we have another question here. Will the S4 get screen burn like the S3? Well, I'm going to say he can't answer that question because he only had it for a short amount of time, and screen burn, would happen after excessive use. And I'm betting you haven't used it excessively yet.
No, I'm trying.
It's slightly updated, to completely different display technology too. So we're, who knows what lies in for the screen burn. I'm assuming Samsung addressed some issues on that, but we'll keep an eye on that. That is interesting to know.
One thing I would like to say too, just real quick, is that I'm really disappointed that I don't get to play around with Knox yet, because that was one feature that had me really.
Wookie,
interested.
I was going to talk about that in a minute. Damn it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. That's fine. But we'll get to that in a minute, and I'll let you. You can yell about it as well with me. So please explain the key differences between the U.S. version with the Snapdragon and the international version with the Exynos 5. Well, I'm going to say that's pretty much the difference. So the Exynos 5 has 8 cores in it. 4 of them are only used at a time. It's the ARM architecture, big little. So let's say you're running like a really badass, powerful program. You're going to have the 4 powerful cores running, and then now you're sending a text message. You don't need the really powerful cores running to do that, or maybe the phone's sitting idle, it's not in use. So the little guys, the low power, bigger, smaller power generation processors are going to run. So you don't actually run eight at a time. It's kind of like a little marketing gimmick to say it's 8 core. I mean, don't get me wrong, it is eight core, but you only ever use 4 at a time. And the Snapdragon 600, well, it's a Snapdragon 600. It's one of 2 devices with it on the market, or will be on the market right now.
Well, the CPU on the Snapdragon benchmarks almost exactly as well as the Octa does with the bigger cores, so it's not.
All right,
You're
so
probably not going to notice
even
that much of a
Samsung
difference.
has said, oh, sorry.
No. So we have a bunch of questions here. I just want to try to hammer them out, so we're not here all night. So Wookie, how thin does it feel compared to the S3?
It doesn't feel all that different. I mean, it doesn't feel that much thinner, but this is something I noticed the first time I ever used it. It feels just sturdier. Something about the S3 felt like I could just kind of like crush it. The S4 does not feel that way.
Okay, all right. You know,
It's definitely thinner, but it has more to do with the. Trying to hold it up so you can see.
All right, so some guy named Joe Hindi, I don't even know who he is. He says his Note 2 is better than the S4, Wookie, and he says you're wrong.
Well, I say he's wrong, but I don't know who he is, so.
So yeah, Joe Hindy's a Android Authority colleague of ours. All right, so we have another question for you, Wookie. Is the unlocking lag glitch still there on the S4? It was there on the S2 and the S3. Whenever you would go to unlock it real fast, it would lag for a second before it shows the home screen. Are you seeing any lag when you go to unlock it before the home screen comes up?
Well, there's an animation. See if you can.
See if we can. All right, so try to.
Yeah, you can kind of see there.
Do it again.
A bit
For those people watching or listening, Wookie's demonstrating the unlock right now.
That time it went quick, but the first time it was definitely slower.
You know, but is it slow or is it just because the animation's playing?
It's just the animation. You see?
Yeah.
The Note 2, the Note 2 is really slow to wake, but to turn all the cores on and get all the processes done.
Okay.
This I haven't had off enough.
All right, so we have a question about battery life, and I'm not even going to have him answer this yet because you can't tell battery life in a day. So we'll get back to that here in the future.
I'd love to answer it, but I can't yet.
Is it laggier than the HTC One?
I have not really noticed that, but at the same time, I spent a lot more time with the One than I have with the S4 so far. So I don't want to say anything already.
Okay. All right, so
again, I'd refer to the Versus.
Short answers, Wookie. Yeah. We have a lot of questions, man.
Okay.
All right, so unlocking glitch. All right, got that one. All right, so have you used it outside yet in the sunlight?
I have not.
Okay, sorry about that. We will get back to that. We had a guy that wanted to know about the screen in the sunlight. Okay, so how steady do you have to hold it for a crisp photo? You guys know as well as I do. Whenever you're taking pictures from your smartphone, if you don't have neurosurgeon hands, they're blurry. Have you tried taking pictures with it? Do you have to be?
Well, I'm gonna try right here, and this is a great way to try because it's low light. So we'll see. I mean, it's definitely gonna look grainy, but we'll see if it's blurry.
Yeah, it'll be grainy for low light, but nice little hands-on here live with Android Authority on air. Samsung Galaxy.
That actually looks fairly steady, and I was obvious. You could tell I was not doing a whole lot to stay steady.
Okay.
I mean, there isn't really that kind of double image you get when you're definitely moving.
Okay.
All right.
Grainy, but anyway.
Okay, so what can your S4 do that my Note 2 can't?
Be faster.
And it has to be faster. It has newer hardware, better, better processor. But besides that, besides speed, it does. It does. I was going to say the gestures, but then I realized, oh wait a second, you can do that with pen gestures. With.
I want to show you one more thing it can do that the Note 2 cannot. See how this looks normal?
Okay, touche. All right, so Jason
Not that bad.
Szyminski, once he says, I own the HTC One and the Galaxy Note 2. I have owned the entire Galaxy phone line from 1 to 3, and the Note 2 plus the Note 10.1. We all know TouchWiz has felt how it's felt over the years, user experience wise. You know, some people think it's felt dated. Given all the updates and what they have done, how do you actually feel when you use the new S4? Do you have that feeling that Samsung, you know, did an awesome job? Or you're like, wow, nice job, Samsung. Or you're using it and you're like, oh, it's just still regular dated TouchWiz. Like, is it an updated TouchWiz experience? I think is what we're getting at here.
The way you asked it and the way the question was phrased are very different. It definitely feels like an iteration of TouchWiz. I mean, it's definitely TouchWiz. It's not like going from HTC Sense 4 Plus to HTC Sense 5, where it's a really different thing. It's clearly TouchWiz. It's faster TouchWiz. It's less intrusive TouchWiz, but it's still TouchWiz.
And TouchWiz is, in my opinion, just slow and laggy. So you throw more processing power at it, it's going to speed up. You know, would you agree with that?
Yeah, I definitely agree with that.
All right. So, okay. Jason, hope that answered your question. Yeah, wow. We all done? Is there any new ones? I'm going to go through the... So did you get a GPS lock or what?
No, I
Still
didn't.
waiting.
I've been looking at maps over and over.
Okay, all right. So I think that's if we missed your question, I'd apologize. There's a bunch of them. We have some more news to talk about. So what I want you to do is go ahead and check out our YouTube channel. There's a full review versus video on there, and as well as AndroidAuthority.com has tons of S4 information. And Wookie, so are you going to be doing anything interesting with the S4 in the future that our users and viewers should watch out for?
Yes, I will. I'm going to be working on a video actually starting tonight, but I'm not going to say what it is.
I wouldn't either.
That's a great teaser.
You got to do that teaser. Okay, teaser. Wookie is going to do something awesome
In
the
video
near
form.
future.
In video form.
In video form.
Yeah, so get ready, guys.
Okay, so moving on here. So let's talk about some carrier stuff here. You know, we just Galaxy S4'd all the things. Let's talk about carrier news for a second. Verizon, they're definitely not the uncarrier, but they do have a new device payment plan. Well, actually, it's not really a new device payment plan. It's been around for tablets, I guess. But anyways, so the revised device payment plan allows you to basically subsidize a phone. I'm sorry, that's the wrong word, subsidize. It allows you to set up a payment plan for a phone over the course of a year. There's a $2 finance charge. You got to pay $24 to do it, but the only stipulation is you pay it off in a year, and the phone has to cost at least $350. So you go to buy that new S4 off contract. Let's say it's $700. You can spread that $700 out over 12 payments. Not bad. So what I'm envisioning doing is selling your phone on like Swappa, which is a great service, by the way, or eBay. Getting your $100, $200 for it, putting that as like a down payment to reduce your monthly payment on your new kind of subsidized device payment plan, and there you go. You get a new phone every year. So speaking of the Galaxy S4 and Verizon, the pre-order page went live today, and the device ships next month, May 30th, which is a full month after every other carrier gets theirs, but CDMA radios are tough. So,
well, there's that, and Verizon just wants to make you suffer.
Or they just want to test their
vote
device
for
a lot.
your analysis, Chris.
What's that?
I said I vote more for your side of it. I think they just think that their customers are gluttons for punishment.
Wookie, what carrier is the S4 on that you have? Or will it be on? Or it won't be on a carrier?
This is kind of a...
I know where the device came from.
Yeah, it came with no SIM card.
Okay, so you're just going to do you're not going to do like call testing on it. You're just going to do Wi-Fi.
Well, I mean, it's a GSM phone, so I can use any GSM SIM.
Okay, all right. So let's stop talking about some carrier stuff here, and let's talk about some other news. Asus Cube, Google TV device, is now available for $140. We saw that back at CES. It's a completely skinned and unique Google TV experience. The box looks like a cube, so the UI had to look like a cube as well because you couldn't have one without the other, apparently. It's a completely unique 3D cube launcher. So, yeah, it's interesting. If I was a betting man, I would wait a month because Google I/O is, a few weeks away. But if you have to have something 3D and cubish and squarish, yeah, it's now available. LG promises a smartphone with a flexible OLED display this year in their earnings call. So sometime before the end of the year, which could be December, but sometime before the end of the year, they're going to have a flexible display phone. They said it'll come the fourth quarter. So that's interesting. What do you guys think about that? A phone with a flexible display from LG.
I don't know if I like it. I don't think it'd be best implemented in phones. I think that many other different types of things it can be implemented into. But phones, not so much. That's my personal opinion.
Okay.
Yes, I mean, I agree. I mean, the only thing it would be useful for is if you not so much curved it, but the technology would allow it to be less breakable. That's the only advantage it would have to me, I think. But then you have to worry about whether it's going to flex while you're actually using the phone, if it's that, less rigid.
Elaborating on what John said, if the flexible phone allows it to not crack or break, I will buy one in a heartbeat. And I will, negate every bad thing that I said about it because, if you have a phone that is going to be, unbreakable by dropping, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of said we would talk about it when we were talking about before we went to talking about other devices, but I got caught up in all of our questions and forgot to mention that the Samsung Knox. Let's backtrack a little bit. For those of you that don't know what Samsung Knox is, simply put, it's platform security. It does trust zone, a secure boot, and it uses a Linux or Android SE, Linux SE access controls for the kernel. So it's the first commercial device to ship that uses Android SE, and then that's cool. Basically the simplest explanation is that it allows you to separate your normal Android apps and Android framework and all that other cool stuff that you're doing on a personal level, and allows it to it puts a special container around your business apps, your integrity management, your VPN, your whatever, single sign-on, your business stuff. So Knox is something for businesses. Knox is what Samsung would go to a business and say, hey, look, we have this security platform, and we're the only people that have it. We are good for business. You use us in the enterprise because we can help secure your devices. And in an age where everybody is bring your own device, because it's cheaper that way for enterprises to bring your own device. You don't have to buy everybody a separate phone. And nobody wants to carry 2 phones or 2 tablets. So we're in the age of BYOD. So Knox is great. I'm looking forward to the reviews of Knox. I was hoping Wookiee would be able to do that here, but apparently it's not going to be available until July. So what do you think about that, Wookiee?
Well, I'm also disappointed that I won't be able to check that out. At the same time, I don't know that that's something I necessarily want to be in the hands of one specific software company. But on the other hand, just the fact that somebody's doing it and the fact that it's based on basically SE Linux is going to encourage other people to do the same thing. And that's going to start to bring Android into being a more business-friendly or enterprise-friendly sort of operating system for tablets or phones or whatever in the future, and that's something I definitely want to see more of. So I'm excited to see where that goes, even though I'm still bummed out that I won't get to play with Knox immediately and see what it's going to do.
All right, so let's talk about one more device here, and then we'll move on before we run out of time. So HTC, this is actually pretty cool. HTC's Unlocked One model offers an LTE device that works on AT&T, but it's not sold through AT&T. That's something that has never been done before. You've never been able to buy an LTE device without it coming from the carrier. So that's
because of
actually,
spectrum support.
well, except for the Nexus 4, which unofficially supports some places with the LTE, but we're not going to talk about that because that really shouldn't be happening. So this is HTC with the One has done something nobody else has been able to do yet. That's cool. That means that you can buy the unlocked device, use it on AT&T, and you don't have to worry about carrier crap. You don't have to worry about all their crap and their branding. You can just, that's awesome. And you can use LTE because normally, you just in the past you get stuck with HSPA plus. So that's cool.
You don't have
Let's talk
software updates either. It comes straight from HTC.
Yeah, and you don't have to wait for them exactly since they're not, branding it. You don't have to wait for software updates to come from them. You get them directly from HTC, which should mean faster updates. Speaking of updates, this past week was Jelly Bean All the Things, because it's been out since last July. So it's been out for 21 months or so. So we might as well. That's 2 years. 9 months. So let's start updating it now. The Motorola Photon Q on Sprint got some Jelly Bean action, which is great because now these guys can use Google Now and better voice search, and you get some butter. So speaking of HTC in the One S. I hate that name. Anyways, so the One S on T-Mobile finally got Jelly Bean. Sony is getting it ready for the Xperia P, the Go, and the Xperia E Dual. The Galaxy S Relay on T-Mobile is getting Jelly Bean. T-Mobile LG Optimus L9, the Verizon LG Spectrum 2. So yeah, we got all sorts of Jelly Bean, and that's great because it's been available on AOSP since June, the end of June last year, July. So yeah, might as well update it. It's only going on a year. Verizon also updated the Resound. No Jelly Bean though. So we have any patent wars? Dan's not here. Dan's usually our patent war king. Dan likes to be angry and hate on everybody throwing around patents. But Dan isn't here, so John is going to be Dan.
Yeah, there's really only one big thing this week. There was a big injunction, not really against HTC. It was between Nokia and ST Microelectronics, and STM basically sold HTC the microphones for the One, and HTC basically released a statement clarifying because the media just kind of ran rampant with the information as if it's going to result in some kind of HTC ban like last year saw. Basically, the court rule was there might be infringement on ST Microelectronics' part. However, HTC is blameless on the matter, and it's all on ST Microelectronics to solve. Nokia has not obtained any injunctions anywhere on the HTC One itself in any country. HTC themselves were not viewed by Nokia. Judgment against STM states that HTC can continue to sell the One with the microphones that they've already purchased because they were purchased in good faith. And beyond that, HTC is simply going to transition to an improved microphone design once they run out of their own current inventory. So, ST Microelectronics, I'm sure, is going to get the hammer dropped on them, but it's a pretty seamless transition for HTC, and it's not going to affect their supply any.
Okay. That about wraps it up. So, Scott, if you happen to not be listening to us, where could you listen to us?
If you just want to listen to us and not view us, because A, we look kind of ugly, B, because the amount of bandwidth, and I'm speaking for everybody, so I'm saying I look ugly as well. Just want to get that out there, okay? YouTube channel, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel, and you can listen to us on SoundCloud, Stitcher Radio, iTunes. We have an RSS feed, which you cannot view in Google Reader in the coming. I'm still upset about Google Reader, by the way.
But hey, you can view it in Currents. You can listen to us in Currents.
Yes,
as well as many other, what's that Pocket one? Pocket something, Pocket Cast. I still haven't tried that yet, but you like that, don't you, John?
I'd say it's by far the best Android podcast app out there. Actually, I would say it beats out most iOS podcast apps.
I would agree with John.
It looks
right.
good.
So you can try it out, and you can listen to us there. Anywhere else they can find us, Scott? Or what's that
Google
website
Plus?
we're on?
Google Plus. If you want to follow along with comments, you can either comment on YouTube because we follow those, as well as the Google Plus page. And we also do post an article after every show about what we talked about, summarized on the website, AndroidAuthority.com.
You know what, Scott? Before we say goodbye, last week, if memory serves me correctly, you said if it's in the comments, you'll make your bed. Do you remember that?
No.
Well,
Somebody
we just happened to have a comment by Jim Bob tonight.
Not a real person. Not a real person.
That said, make your bed.
I think he should do it on air.
I think that we should do a live Scott Anderson bed making.
Do it.
That's an after show, right? All right, guys.
I'll do a live recording.
Thanks for coming, Wookie. It was great having you. Remember to watch the YouTube channel. Wookie's going to do something awesome in the next day or so.
We don't know what it is, though.
We don't know what it is. It could just be a picture.
Might be a little bit longer than a day. I want to make sure I do it right.
I mean, it could just be Wookie just being like Galaxy S4, Galaxy S4. You know, we don't know. We don't know what it's going to be.
It could be a jingle of some sort.
Wookie, is it a jingle?
It better be a jingle. See, now
All right,
you got
guys,
us all
have a good
worked
night.
up.
I can't talk about it.
Have a good night. See you.